Step into your adventures in dreamland. Soft, surreal, and slightly cheeky sleep stories with awe and wonder. I'm Serene, your guide tonight. I'm so glad you're here. However your day unfolded, I'm grateful to be a part of how it ends. I'd love to know where you're listening from and what time it is. I read every comment. Every tap helps pay the cloud mortgage here in Dreamland. And if your finger ever drifts towards the subscribe button, rumor has it your sleep deepens by 11%. Not proven, just whispered. I say the science is still out. Now we return to what we are. It's strange. People have no idea. There are only 3 states of being, and you move through all of them every night. Right now, we're in our most superficial state, awake, bound by the senses and ego, influenced by the outward stimuli of the physical world. And while dreaming, the subconscious is in control, projecting stored impressions, thoughts, desires, no longer governed by the physical rules. And in deep sleep, there are no dreams, no mental activity, no ego, just a temporary return to the pure awareness of the soul, united with the divine, though you won't remember it. Bliss without awareness, tasting divine peace, what yogis pursue in stillness and saints devote lifetimes to finding. So relax. Let go. You are returning back to your inherent state. Freedom. Your story begins. The Space Train is episode 10 and the 3rd in our Dream Wonders series, where we appreciate fascinating wonders of our world. The sound of a toot-toot blows heavy in the air, or lack thereof. You're reclined in a velvet train seat that hugs you like a cloud, legs tucked under a dreamy woven blanket. Soft ambient music hums low, pulsing like distant stars. A fireplace glows nearby with electric blue flames that flicker like dancing plasma, casting playful reflections on your glass of glowing chamomile tea. You glance out the window, wondering if it's really a good idea to start a train ride through the entire solar system right before bed, and then shrug. You've done weirder things half asleep. The lights are dimmed to a cozy twilight, and signs above the snack cart twinkle with playful charm. Out of this world drinks and snacks from the stars. You take a bite of something that crunches like a comet and melts on your tongue like stardust. The flavor? A surprise burst of mint and honeyed cosmos. The speaker above your head crackles gently. "Welcome aboard the Planet Train," says a cheerful, slightly sassy female voice with a dash of cosmic curiosity. "I'm Stella, your tour guide of the galaxies tonight. Buckle up, or better yet, tuck in. We'll be gliding from Neptune all the way back to the sun, one magical planet at a time. The train begins to glide forward with a barely there vibration, like it's riding moonbeams instead of tracks. First stop, Neptune. Outside your window, the sky deepens into a rich indigo, then shifts into midnight blue as Neptune looms into view. It's a swirling marble of deep sea blues and icy winds. Ah, Neptune, Stella Cous, the farthest official planet in our solar family. Did you know it has supersonic winds, the fastest in the whole solar system, up to 100 miles per hour, makes a Texas tornado look like a breeze? You smile as streaks of frosty clouds spiral past the glass. Some folks board the planet train because they're curious, others because they need reminding how beautiful the universe is. You begin to let the excitement of the beauty that lies ahead sweep over you. Neptune is a cold giant, made mostly of hydrogen, helium, and methane. It's the methane that gives it that gorgeous blue color. And get this, scientists think it rains diamonds in its atmosphere. Actual diamonds, tumbling down through the pressure like frozen fireworks. It's also got rings, she adds, faint and shadowy, like a whisper around the edges. You don't always notice them at first, but they're there. You take another sip of glowing tea and think, I hope this doesn't turn into a pop quiz later. Then again, you're already on a train in space. Might as well enjoy the ride. The train tilts slightly as it glides past Neptune's largest moon. That's Triton out there, Stella says softly. It's the only large moon in the solar system that orbits backwards against the spin of its planet, like it's dancing its own dance. You press your fingers to the glass, watching Triton shimmer like a silver coin tossed into the dark. Neptune reminds us of the unknown, Stella continues. In science, it's a symbol of mystery, unmapped, unexplained, and beautiful for it. What part of the sky is Neptune in? It drifts through the distant reaches, currently traveling through Pisces, a constellation long associated with fluidity, dreams, and sensitivity. In astrology, Neptune governs imagination, illusion, intuition, compassion, spiritual fog, and the big unknowns, the things you feel but can't quite name. It's the planet of poetic questions and subtle truths. There's a pause. And just so you know, astrology wasn't always about horoscopes. Originally, it had nothing to do with predicting your day. It was about tracking planetary movements and pairing them with human patterns, ancient math, sky cycles, and story, like music, like tides, like weather. The train glides on, shifting toward a new shade of space as your eyelids grow heavier, your body softer, and just ahead. Next up, Uranus. But don't worry, I'll try not to make the obvious jokes. Outside your window, the cosmos shifts again, this time into glowing turquoise and icy jade. Coming into view, Uranus, Stella announces. You chuckle as the planet rolls past. Literally. Uranus spins on its side, It's tilted a whopping 98 degrees, like it just flopped over for a nap and never got back up. If you think of a planet as having a north and south pole, like Earth, Uranus's poles are basically where its equator should be. Scientists believe a massive collision billions of years ago knocked it off kilter, and it's been rolling sideways ever since, like a cosmic barrel. Outside, the glow of its pale blue atmosphere ripples in dreamy streaks, soft and almost icy in appearance, with a smooth, hazy texture that feels almost painted. Uranus is made mostly of icy fluids, water, ammonia, and methane over a small rocky core. That methane gives it that frosty blue color, and its atmosphere is chilly, with temperatures dropping to minus 370 degrees Fahrenheit. It has rings too, 13 in fact, narrow, dark, and hard to see without special equipment. And it's orbited by 27 known moons, each named after characters from Shakespeare and Alexander Pope. There's Miranda, Titania, Ariel, and Oberon, quite the dramatic cast. Right now, Uranus is making its slow journey through the constellation Taurus. Stella's voice softens. In the realm of ideas, Uranus represents innovation, rebellion, and disruption. It's the planet of surprises, curveballs, and sudden genius, the quiet jolt of realization, the change you didn't ask for, but grew from. A gentle shiver runs through the cabin as the train curves near the edge of its icy atmosphere. You pull the soft wool blanket under your chin. Uranus is cold, quiet, and a little weird, and that's what makes it wonderful. The stars outside twinkle brighter for a moment, like they're winking in agreement. Next stop, Saturn. Get ready for rings so good they deserve their own spotlight. Outside your window, Saturn drifts into view, and your breath catches. It's glowing gold, not like the shiny kind you see in jewelry, but a muted, majestic kind, the color of candlelight behind sheer silk. Surrounding it, the famous rings shimmer like spun glass, so vast they could stretch from Earth to the moon. Saturn, Stella says softly, her voice almost reverent, the showstopper. The train slows slightly, giving you time to take it in, every delicate band and swirling cloud. Those rings, made of billions of ice particles, rock chunks, and cosmic dust, some no bigger than snowflakes, others the size of houses. They orbit in perfect synchrony, dancing through 7 major rings and countless tiny ones. A soft bell chimes in the train cabin as the light flickers with a golden hue. It's not just pretty, she adds. Saturn is massive, the second largest planet in our solar system, with a diameter over 9 times that of Earth. But, plot twist, it's also the lightest. If you could find a bathtub big enough, Saturn would float. You let out a surprised laugh. Saturn is mostly hydrogen and helium, a big puffball with style. But don't be fooled. Beneath that beauty is structure, layers, a magnetic field. Over 140 moons orbiting it, including Titan, a moon so big It has its own thick atmosphere and lakes of liquid methane. Sounds like a vacation spot for robots. She lets that settle. In the sky, Saturn is moving through Pisces. Slow, steady, serious. And then, with a slightly cheeky shift in tone, she says, "Now, if you're into symbolic meanings, Saturn is all about time, boundaries, responsibility, the long game. In ancient Roman mythology, Saturn was the god of harvest. Work now, reward later." A quiet pause. Some people say Saturn teaches us the value of waiting, of patience, of things that grow slowly, like oak trees, trust, or healing. The golden light outside intensifies as the train loops gently around the rings, gliding through shimmering trails like powdered sugar in space. Then Stella adds, "And just between us, Saturn returns are a thing, age 29 or so. That's when Saturn comes back to the place it was when you were born. People say it's like the universe asking, 'Are you growing up yet, or should I hit you with another round of life lessons?'" You chuckle, thinking about your own version of that. The train shifts again. Outside, Saturn slowly slips into the distance, its golden rings becoming a ribbon on the horizon. Next stop, Jupiter. Hope you like your planets big and stormy. Outside, the window swells with color and motion. "Brace yourself," Stella hums over the speaker. "Here comes the heavyweight champ." Jupiter rises into view like a living mural, massive, marbled, and moving. Its surface isn't solid. It's all atmosphere, gas, and storm, but it pulses with drama. Ribbons of rust, ochre, and cream swirl across its face like a never-ending storm painted in oil. "It's the biggest planet in our solar system," Stella says, clearly proud. "If Jupiter were a spoonful of peanut butter, Earth would be a single sprinkle of cinnamon. It's so large, over 1,200 Earths could fit inside. You could tuck the moon in there and never find it again." The train coasts close to the cloud tops, and the great red spot comes into focus. An enormous swirling vortex, wider than Earth itself. "That's not a birthmark," she adds. "That's a storm, and it's been raging for over 300 years. Scientists call it the Great Red Spot, but I like to think of it as Jupiter's eye, always watching, always whirling. Beyond the spot, the planet continues to churn, bands of hydrogen and helium caught in powerful jet streams, rotating at breakneck speeds. Jupiter spins faster than any other planet, one full rotation every 10 hours. That's one short day on a planet with no surface to stand on. The lights in your cabin flicker playfully as the train dips into the magnetic field. "Oh, and by the way," Stella says, "Jupiter's magnetic field? It's epic. Strongest in the solar system. If Earth's field is a cozy blanket, Jupiter's is an electric force field the size of a god's mood swing." You press your hand to the glass as the glow deepens, and a string of moons begin to appear in the distance. Say hello to the Galilean gang, 4 of Jupiter's largest and most famous moons, all discovered by Galileo back in 1610, way before space telescopes were cool. There's Io with its wild lava-spewing volcanoes, Europa hiding a salty ocean beneath its icy shell, Ganymede, the biggest moon in the entire solar system. Yep, even bigger than Mercury, and Callisto, ancient and cratered, like a moon that remembers everything. The train curves gently as the moons drift past in a slow waltz. In the sky, Jupiter is currently traveling through Gemini, a constellation associated with questions, curiosity, and duality. Then, her voice lowers slightly. In symbolic terms, Jupiter represents expansion, growth, philosophy, big ideas, big feelings, big truths. It's the planet of wisdom and wonder, the search for meaning in the stars or in your own heart. A pause. If Saturn makes you grow up, Jupiter makes you dream bigger. A soft pulse of golden light bathes the train car as the giant fades from view. Still spinning, still watching, still holding space for questions that haven't yet been asked. Next stop, Mars. Pack your sense of adventure. Outside your window, the landscape shifts again. The rich blues and golds fading into deep rust red. You spot a row of translucent space whales swimming alongside the train, their bodies pulsing with star maps. One of them seems to wink at you. Next up, Stella calls with a spark of excitement. Mars, the original road trip planet. The train glides low over a jagged canyon, deeper than the Grand Canyon and stretching over 2,500 miles. "That beauty down there," she says, "that's Valles Marineris. It's so wide, it would stretch from New York to Los Angeles. Mars doesn't do anything halfway. The planet beneath you is dry, rugged, and quiet, but not lifeless. Dust devils dance across the plains like shy spirits, and ancient volcanoes rise in the distance. There's Olympus Mons, the tallest volcano in the solar system, 3 times taller than Mount Everest. If it erupted today, it could probably toast your marshmallows from space. The reddish tint of the land deepens as the train shifts westward. Mars is known as the red planet because of all the iron oxide, basically rust. So yeah, it's red because it's dusty and dramatic." She chuckles. "And for those of you looking for extraterrestrial roommates, well, Mars used to have liquid water, rivers, maybe even oceans. Scientists think it could have supported life, and who knows? Maybe underground it still does. Maybe they've been hiding underground this whole time. Who knows? Elon or one of his 27 children might stumble on them someday. Maybe over brunch, on Mars." Outside, a pale blue haze surrounds the horizon. Mars' thin atmosphere, mostly carbon dioxide. "Don't breathe too deep," Stella jokes, "unless you're a plant." Then her tone softens just a little. In the sky, Mars is currently moving through Leo, a bold, fire-hearted constellation. And symbolically, Mars is energy, motion, desire. It's the spark that makes you take the leap, the flame that says, "Go." It rules action, willpower, even anger, the kind that changes things when used with care. A small rover rolls by in the distance, slowly making its way across the dust. See that little guy? That's perseverance. Still working, still scanning, still asking questions. Mars reminds us to keep going, to explore, to build the next step, even when no one's watching. The sky above turns a burnt orange as Mars drifts into the distance behind you. Next up, Earth, our big blue marble. As the train glides away from Saturn, you nestle deeper into your seat, cozy and content beneath your blanket. That's when it hits you. Not just awe from the view, but the chamomile tea from Neptune. You glance around. Now's probably a good time. Even though Stella's voice is coming over the loudspeaker, she seems to have read your mind. If anyone needs to stretch their legs, she says cheerfully, our restroom is 2 cars back, complete with heated towel rings, mood lighting, and the best view of Earth this side of the asteroid belt. You make your way down the softly glowing hallway. Each step feels buoyant, like walking on memory foam wrapped in moonlight. The restroom doors open with a whisper. Inside, it's beautiful. The walls shimmer with shifting constellations. The mirror greets you softly. You look radiant, starlight. You smirk. The sink is a glowing orb that ripples with light at your touch. The soap smells like midnight lavender and cool fog. A gentle mist refreshes the air with a faint swirl of eucalyptus and nebula bloom. Even the floor sparkles with tiny stars beneath your feet. When you're done, the flush sounds like a spaceship taking off, a polite little shoop, and your warm towel smells faintly of stardust and comfort. You step back into the corridor, and through the side viewing panel, you pause. Earth, a marble of blue and green wrapped in white clouds, turning slowly like it's dreaming. You linger there a moment, holding your breath. By the time you return to your seat, Earth is right outside your main window, breathtaking and familiar, a reminder of home, glowing with soft light and quiet promise. You're not ready to go home yet. Outside your window, the view shifts from soft sapphire to a golden, swirling haze. The glass gently adjusts its tint to protect your eyes, and the train slows ever so slightly as it approaches one of the most dazzling sights in the solar system. Now arriving, Venus, Stella announces, her voice warm with awe. Our sister planet. She's almost the same size as Earth, but trust me, she's got a wildly different personality. The scene outside glows with buttery gold and cloudy peach. Venus is cloaked in a thick atmosphere of carbon dioxide, wrapped in layers of reflective sulfuric acid clouds. The light scatters in dreamy waves, painting the planet in tones that shimmer like melted brass. She's bright enough to be mistaken for a star, Stella continues. In fact, Venus is the third brightest object in our sky after the sun and moon. That glow, it's not from the surface. It's her clouds, reflecting sunlight like a diva with a mirror ball. But the beauty is deceptive. Surface temperatures, a toasty 864 degrees Fahrenheit, hotter than Mercury, even though Mercury's closer to the sun. That's the greenhouse effect, cranked up to full blast. You sip your glowing tea, suddenly very grateful for central air. She spins backwards too, Stella adds, her voice full of wonder. And get this, a single day on Venus is actually longer than a Venus year. Isn't that wild? You blink. She takes 243 Earth days to do just one full turn, one long, lazy spin. But she only takes 225 days to go all the way around the sun. So yep, one day here lasts longer than her whole year. She lets that settle. Imagine having breakfast, and by the time the sun sets again, it's your birthday. Outside, you glimpse flashes of lightning behind the clouds, glowing in soft pulses like heartbeat rhythms. There's a strange, haunting elegance to it all. And in the sky tonight, Stella says, Venus shines from the constellation Leo, regal, confident, unmistakable. A pause, and then, in symbolism, Venus is tied to beauty, attraction, balance, pleasure, those soft, magnetic forces that pull us toward connection, not just romance, but harmony, the art of noticing, the power of magnetism over force. The train glides forward, leaving the golden haze behind. Venus is fire dressed in silk, Stella murmurs, and she's never been subtle. You wrap the blanket a little tighter as a shimmer of pink-orange slips past the window. Next up, Mercury. Hope you like speed. The golden glow fades, replaced by a sharp brilliance, crisp silvery light gleaming ahead like a polished coin under a spotlight. Hold on to your tea, Stella says. We're heading straight for the daredevil of the solar system, Mercury. Outside your window, Mercury rushes into view, a rocky world, scarred with craters and shadowed valleys. It looks like the moon's tougher cousin, battered by eons of solar blasts. This little guy is the closest planet to the sun, but weirdly, not the hottest. Venus wins that prize. Mercury just sprints around the sun like it's trying to impress someone. The train hums faster for a moment, as if mimicking Mercury's speed. One Mercury year is just 88 Earth days, but a day on Mercury, that's 176 Earth days. So if you moved here, you could celebrate New Year's twice before the sun even sets. You smile at the thought, 2 birthdays before bedtime. Mercury doesn't have an atmosphere like Earth's. Instead, it's got a thin exosphere made of atoms blasted off by solar wind. That means there's no weather, no clouds, just pure sunlight and deep, dark shadows. Outside, you see sharp contrast. One half of the planet blindingly bright, the other cloaked in pitch black cold. Temperatures swing wildly here, Stella adds. 800 degrees in the sun, 290 degrees in the shade. You want extreme? Mercury wrote the manual. It spins slowly, almost stubbornly,
and you can feel a stillness in the air, like time stretches longer here, even as the planet races around its orbit. In tonight's sky, Mercury is drifting through the constellation Cancer, a sensitive little shell for such a tough survivor. Stella's voice softens. In symbol and story, Mercury is the messenger, governing communication, ideas, travel, quick wit. It's the flicker of a new thought, the ping of a message sent across distance, emails, epiphanies, GPS, and gossip. That's Mercury's domain. A tiny satellite zips past. It's too fast to see. Tiny planet, big personality.
You lean back, smiling, as the planet fades from view, shrinking behind you like a coin flipping into space. And now, Stella says, we near the heart of our solar family. Outside, a soft golden glow begins to bloom. Not harsh or blinding, but warm and pulsing, like light filtered through honey. The sun, she whispers, our star, our warmth, the reason everything else shines. You feel the train slow slightly, as if in reverence. We won't get too close, she adds with a smirk, just close enough to remember how everything begins. The light wraps around you like a weighted blanket, and then, just ahead, the blue swirl of home. And now, Stella says with a grin you can hear, time to return home. Stella's voice returns, a little softer now. Well, dreamer, looks like it's time to head home. Next stop, Earth. A cheerful toot-toot sounds overhead. The train whistles gently, like it's smiling. Stella's voice returns, gentle this time. There she is, she says, our cozy little miracle, spinning through the dark. Welcome to Earth. Outside your window, the glow of our home planet begins to grow larger. Soft swirls of ocean blue and cloud white, streaks of green and golden land masses glimmer like they're lit from within. The moon floats nearby, quiet, silver, loyal. Earth's companion in the dark, always turning, always near. The only planet we know with life, Stella murmurs, a place where water flows freely and the air is just right for breathing. Earth orbits the sun at just the perfect distance, what scientists call the Goldilocks zone. Not too hot, not too cold. The train slows, the stars dim, and it's fast, she says. Did you know the Earth spins at over 1,000 miles per hour at the equator? You're flying through space right now and don't even feel it. A breeze stirs the cabin, scented faintly of pine and rain. Somewhere, faintly, you hear the soft whir of your bedroom fan. But Earth doesn't just spin, she continues. It tilts 23.5 degrees. That little lean is what gives us seasons. Summer, winter, spring, and fall. All because our world has just the right wobble. Outside, Earth glows brighter, but your seat also begins to blur softly around the edges. You notice something strange. Your blanket feels familiar. The glow of the train fades into the soft glow of a nightlight. Your glass is now your water on the bedside table. Your body hasn't moved, and yet you've traveled so far. You're home, stargazer, Stella whispers, on a world wrapped in oceans and moonlight, held by gravity, spinning quietly through the stars. You feel your pillow beneath your head now, but also, still, the steady lull of a train. It's like you're in both places at once, drifting down through clouds, and also safely in bed. One last fact floats in with your breath. The Earth's magnetic field, shaped by its molten iron core, shields you from solar storms and cosmic radiation. A silent guardian, always protecting. The fan hums, the stars twinkle. Far in the distance, one of the space whales reappears, pulsing softly with a glowing star map across its back, like it came all this way to see you home. Stella's voice, barely above a whisper now. You've just traveled millions of miles, only to discover how precious home really is. The cabin is quiet now. Outside, Earth glows like a pearl cradled in the arms of the galaxy, and your bed cradles you just the same. You made it back in one piece, she murmurs, though I'm not sure your soul didn't leave a little sparkle behind on Saturn. The train sighs to a stop. Stella's voice returns one last time, soft, warm, and full of fondness. Thanks for riding the planet train, dreamer. You've seen the farthest skies and found your way home. A pause. Then, you are safe. Sweet dreams.